My life is happy. Happy. I'm more than happy. Drinks in my cup, happy. And the girls of my cup, happy. And I'm me and the truck, happy. And I don't give a damn about this and I tell you. Bless, yeah. And I'm feeling bless, yeah. Right now I feel blessed. Right now I feel blessed.
WEFM. WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Rise and shine. Let's get ready to take on the day. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
All right. Good morning, SVG. We are here with you for another Activated Mornings program. You have with you in studio Dianna, Cain, and myself, Roleza Samuel. And we are both looking out at this time at the water, and outside looks nice.
Amazing.
It looks like today is going to be a lovely beach day. From the weather report, it sounds so. If y'all feel like Bunwalk and go beach, I give y'all the permission to, all right? Don't come look for me for any walk afterward, but I give you permission to Bunwalk and go to the beach today, all right? So for those of you who are headed into Kingston for whatever reason, or heading out of Kingston also for whatever reason, trust that you guys are safe. To all the van drivers out there listening to us at this time, take good care of the special cargo, all right? Every single passenger in your van is special cargo because you know they mean the world to somebody in their life or some people in their lives, all right? So take special care of them. Dianna, good morning, and how are you?
Good morning, I am okay. I'm fine and dandy.
You know, that's a Christmas song.
Oh yes,
doing
Dolly.
this Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
I'm doing just fine and dandy. Yeah. Love that song. I actually love that song because it reminded me of a Christmas that was really rough for me. And it was the first time I heard the song. So every time I hear it, I just remember that period in my life. It was interesting.
Oh,
Yeah. So we are here with you guys. Anything you want to share of interest?
As you came in and you mentioned the van drivers, you know, I was gonna say they need to hear that in all caps.
Well, I
You
couldn't
tell them
shout
that
it too much,
I
had to control my voice. But
They did it in all caps, you know, they had this thing, this is louder for the people in the back.
Yeah.
Damn, oh Lord, I feel like they're not learning. Because every day I'm on the road and I'm seeing these things and I'm like, what is going on? And why aren't they learning? Why aren't they looking at what is happening? People are actually dying and they're still with this stuff. Not about the trailer truck, them. Lord of one of these days, my heart, I go just give out.
You know you can't drive. You realize that you can't be a driver.
I'm thinking about it
because knowing you, it's not like you're going dead stop in the road and everybody going to run right into you.
Yesterday I in a van and the big corner in Gibson where there's the garage.
Mm-hmm.
A trailer was coming and you know the trailer, the long thing, and had to take the whole corner. Not a hand, it no blow.
Yeah.
But there was a man in the corner doing something, so he directed to the van driver so they knew something was coming.
And chances are he was walking by the garage.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, it looks so.
All right, well, I do have to give commendations because recently, I think it was last week, I was approaching that same corner and the trailer that was coming around, they blew their horn ahead of time.
Lovely.
Right, so I do have to, I didn't get no plate number or anything, but I remember that in particular, and I was like, wow, you know, very good. Yes. You know, but it's only common sense. You know, a lot of these things are just basic common sense. Even with a lot of the accidents that we see and happening on the road, it's just overconfidence. By many drivers on the road, it's just overconfidence, right? And I mean, people like to think that when you speed, it shows your technique as a driver. It actually doesn't, folks. All right? It doesn't show your technique at all. You know, anybody could press gas and go, but that does not show that you have any sort of driving capabilities. And the thing of it is that we have to also be mindful that of our terrain. Yes. We don't have extensive flat lands here in SVG. In no time you're going to be approaching a corner. In no time. So where you're going with all this speed? Like, y'all don't value your lives? Think about your mothers. All right? The mothers who are actually going to be missing many of you, think about your mothers. Okay.
Mommy home praying, asking God to guide you and
And that's
protect
the thing,
you.
when the mothers them praying these kind of prayers and then the children them out there doing
they
what they
live in
want to do,
reckless.
No, your mother prayer is going to waste. That's not what it's supposed to be, all right? Your mother asking for protection and guidance over your life, and you out in the streets doing nonsense. All right, y'all need to. Many of you need to buck up, and it's just the overconfidence that many of you have. It's just ridiculous. But especially when you're carrying people with you, you have to be a little bit more mindful, a little bit more cautious, and a little bit more protective of the people who you have riding with you, whether it's your own personal vehicle, whether you are a taxi, or whether you are a minibus. All right? Yeah. All right.
Please, oh.
All right. There's something interesting. Yesterday I went to buy lunch at a particular place in Plaza. I can't remember the name of the place. And I was amazed to see on the menu that they had iguana. I saw the stuff there, and I'm like, what's this? Because it ain't looking like familiar meat to me. And then when I asked her, she told me it was iguana. I was like, wow, this is like the first time I've ever gone to, you skinning off your face. This is the first time I've ever gone to a Vinci restaurant or a shop or palo, whatever term you want to use. And they had iguana, like wild meat on the menu. I didn't eat it because I've never had it before, and I didn't want to get a full portion meal of it, not knowing if I would have liked it. If I could have been offered like a taste of it, but of course you had to pay for the sample, and which is only fair. But I didn't have it, so I think I probably need to buck up the courage, and maybe if I don't like it, then just don't eat, scrape out everything else and eat around it. But it was interesting, and she told me it was actually going very quickly.
Yeah, apparently Vincent John's really like iguana and manikou. They had a wild meat festival the other day.
Yes, I saw the ad for that. Yeah, but I've never had it.
I tasted it once. I nearly brought up all my
you didn't like it?
Stomach.
What it tastes like though?
It can taste like chicken, but my mind, because I never ate it, and in that moment, the people I was living with, that was the only meat they like them things, and that day that was the only meat they cooked, and I said, you know what, let me try it. I don't know if it was just my mind, because I kept telling myself this is nasty and I will never eat this. Okay. So all the while I was eating it, Roleza, when I was done, I nearly brought up my entire stomach. I said, never me again.
I think sometimes the trick is to not tell people what to eat and tell them after. I mean, that's deception, but
I know chicken very well, so I know when it's not chicken.
Because parts of it, I was like, okay, if you could take off the skin, right? You could, you could probably just tell somebody taste this and then let them know after what it is that they ate. But
anybody do me that to 1 clock? Don't do me that.
I probably, as long as I don't die or end up with food poisoning, I think it's okay. I think it's okay because. I hear people talking about people eating dog and people eating cats.
Yes.
Morning, barley, folks. Oh Lord, I hear people, but I'm like, meat is kind of meat, Well, once you season it up for me is okay,
But not so for me at all. But I am realizing that across the world, a lot of people eating all sorts of strange things.
Yeah, it's just cultural. It's cultural thing,
but me, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
All right, good folks. Let's so Evan said I had iguana taste okay, texture is more like fish. Okay. Okay. All right.
Nice for the mountain chicken I will ever eat. Anybody give me that and tell me is that eating? Only how much I expect.
Yeah, with a little salt and pepper, anything good to go. We eating. Yum 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 yum. All right, let's get serious.
All
right.
There's an ad. Get serious.
Get bop. All right, folks. So we are going to jump into not so good news at this time. Woke up this morning to an article that's making its rounds. Well, the story is making its rounds on several news sites. And reading this one from Eyewitness News, it says, woman killed in the presence of grandsons 3 months after their father's murder. All right. Really and truly not the kind of news that we want to wake up and hear, but the reality is it has occurred. All right. So going to read, not in full. But a woman was shot and killed in Paul Oval on Tuesday night, last night, in the presence of her 3 grandsons, whose father was killed in a similar fashion in Poliad 3 months earlier. The dead woman, Marilyn John, aka Maro, a businesswoman who operates near Randy's supermarket in Annisville, was shot a few hundred feet from where she lives next to another man who was murdered this year. Eyewitness News was reliably informed that multiple police units responded around 9:30 p.m. to reports of loud explosions in the Paul Over area that did not sound like the traditional blowing of bamboo. When officers arrived, they saw John's van crossways in the road with several windows shot out. She was unresponsive and lying back in the vehicle with blood flowing from her body. She was later pronounced dead at the scene, becoming the 39th homicide victim in SVG for this year. A well-placed source told Eyewitness News that two of John's grandsons, whose father, Jamal John 30, was shot and killed in Poliad, Annisville, on the 13th of July, they were also in the vehicle. Now, interestingly, reports that the woman's masked assailants demanded money, then immediately shot her after fleeing, allegedly without taking anything. All right. So we've woken up to some unfortunate news, some sad news. It's one thing for her to have fallen victim in a similar manner to the way in which her sons died, but also, if as stated in the article, that she was killed in front of her grandsons, it is horrible, right? It's extremely horrible because of the impact that seeing the death of their grandma. They're already grieving. These children are already grieving. All right. Now, I'm not going to make it sound as if there is a particular time and place to kill anybody. That's not what I'm saying. But I think it's especially more damaging when you do it in front of children who are defenseless in a sense, right? You know, they can't speak up and necessarily say, don't kill my grandmother, don't do this. They may have been there in a state of fright, in a state of shock. And also we have to think about the long-term or the residual impact that this is going to have on these children.
Correct. It's so unfortunate that you have to wake up and hear there's another killing. Much worse for me when I hear it's a female. And even worse, like you said, that she was killed in front of this child. And as you mentioned, children, as you mentioned, it's going to have some sort of long-lasting impact because, of course, their father, and it's so crazy that their father and their grandmother died the same way. That is some serious trauma that may follow them into their adulthood that they're going to have to deal with at some point. Somebody's going to have to look out for these children in the long run because you might hear they start behaving a certain way in school, and then, you know, it would be important for society, their neighborhood, the people around them to trace back to these events and help them when it gets to that point, you know. But I just keep thinking about that, the fact that these children are going to have to go through this, they're going to have to deal with this, the fact that we have another killing again, and and I'm wondering, you know, is it what could it be? The son was killed and now the mother is killed same way.
And that's the other thing too, is like, why is, and I guess they attempted to make it seem like it was a robbery, maybe a robbery gone wrong. But if you're going to rob somebody and you still don't take the things that you intended to take, then clearly the intent was not robbery, it was murder. You know, and one of the things that I really look at is the behavioral impact that this may have, because these children, depending on whether or not they get help, and they get help early, you know, if it festers within them, how are these children going to turn out later on in life?
You know, I really don't want to, I'm not calling anything on these children, but they could possibly pick up the gun too.
And that's the thing, because it could be the hatred and, you know, the resentment towards the world, because in this case, they may not know or ever find out who it is did it to kill their mother, their grandmother, as well as their father. So it might just be a hatred towards the entire world. You know, so we have to also think about situations like that. And that's why sometimes, you know, when we see guys acting in a particular way, sometimes, and this is not an excuse, but there are many times that we have to trace back to what it is that happened within their childhood, right? Now, I will always say that when you get to a level of sense, right, in terms of knowing right from wrong, knowing what are the consequences of your action? And it's really and truly for that individual to take stock and try to change the circumstances of their life. But I know that for some individuals, it's not that easy, especially if they did not get help from a very young age, and they may just go down a wrong road in life. But it's still not an excuse for those of you who are out there committing crime, because of the fact that you can change the circumstances of your life in terms of how your life started out, but this is really unfortunate, and it needs to stop, right? It just needs to stop. It needs to end. We just came out of, and that was one of the things that I was just saying, that we came out of the long Independence weekend slightly unscathed in a way in terms of hearing of negative news, except of the incident of the guy who was knocked down in Caliacor, but to hear of nothing else happening, I was happy, but I didn't say anything because I don't like to verbalize things, because then we just never know when we're going to hear something of the opposite, but I don't know. I don't know, but I'm just hoping that these children, that they are going to get the assistance that they need to endure or to talk through their trauma and get counseling and to get support that they need. Don't know who it is that they're going to end up living with, if they're going to now end up being separated, etc., etc. Are they going to now be the responsibility of another family member? Would this family member actually love and care for them in the way in which they're supposed to, or the way in which their father or their grandmother would have? We don't know. So it's so many things stemming from this one incident. All right. So many things. All right. Just to very quickly touch on yesterday, I'm not going to go into details about it, but for public information, a new law yesterday was passed for public servants. Both sides of the House agreed. And Parliament ended early yesterday, right? I was listening and it ended early yesterday. This is what happens when they agree.
Somebody said that earlier, and I think it was the PM. I ain't sure what somebody in Parliament said. Looks like we're going to finish early today.
I think it might have been the PM. I think it was the PM. It was the PM, right? Both sides agreed. So on Tuesday, the government enacted a legislation with bipartisan support, allowing teachers and certain categories of public servants to seek potential political office without requirement to resign. Now, I am actually curious about what these certain categories of public servants are. So I have to go out. I'm going to ask somebody about this part, right? Because, just a little curious. So the amendment to the Representation of People Act, permitting certain categories of public servants to contest for office, is a component of a broader legislative effort aimed at modernizing St. Vincent's economy and enhancing its competitiveness. All right. So more will be stated on this in subsequent articles or other publications. All right. So both sides of the House agreed. But I will say this one thing. And I mean, it was something that was voiced even in Parliament. But even when the PM was delivering, I was like, I wonder who it is on their side they want to have run. Right, that was the first thing that came to my mind when I heard of the debates going on. But we gonna see, right? We shall see. All right, so here is where we're going to come to the end of this segment. In about 2 minutes' time, we will bring to you today's traffic talk, and then we'll be back with more commentary at around 7:45 on our Activated Mornings program for this morning. All right, stay tuned. Don't you go anywhere.